Stay off my man. Next visit you won't find it funny.
Going on? He asked, concerned in his eyes. Brielle took a breath. Sabrina called me. We met for coffee. Minho went very still. What? She wanted to talk. About you. About your relationship with her. And you agreed to meet her. His voice was carefully controlled. Too controlled. I was curious, and maybe a little worried. About whether she had a point. Minho's jaw tightened. What did she say? That you're emotionally unavailable. That you shut people out instead of letting them in. That you refused help after the accident and pushed her away whenever she tried to get closer. Of course that's what she said. Minho turned away, gripping the counter. Did she mention the part where she started treating me like I was made of glass? Or how she'd talk about me to her friends like I wasn't there? Or how she'd make decisions for me without asking because she assumed I couldn't handle things? No, she didn't mention that. I'm sure she didn't. Minho's voice was sharp now. Angry. Let me guess. She positioned herself as the patient girlfriend who tried so hard, and me as the stubborn, disabled guy who refused help. Basically. And you believed her. I don't know if Brielle's own frustration bubbled up. Because here's the thing, Minho, you don't talk about the accident. Not really. You don't talk about how you feel about being disabled. You deflect and change the subject. So how am I supposed to know what's true? You could trust me instead of my ex-fiancé. I want to trust you, but trust goes both ways. And if you're not letting me in, if you're keeping huge parts of yourself locked away, how is that different from what Sabrina described? The words hung between them like broken glass. Minho was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was low. You want to know about the accident? Fine. I was on a business trip in Seoul, riding in a car with my COO and driver. Drunk driver ran a red light, hit us head-on. My COO died instantly. Driver died in the hospital 2 days later. I survived with a severed spinal cord and massive internal injuries. Brielle felt her breath catch. I spent 6 months in hospitals and rehab, Minho continued, his voice flat. Learning how to exist in a body that didn't work the way it used to. Dealing with pain and infections and the knowledge that I'd never walk again. And through all of it, people treated me like I was fragile. Like I'd lost my ability to think, to decide, to live, just because I'd lost my ability to walk. Minho Sabrina was the worst. She meant well, but she suffocated me, made every decision for me, spoke to me, rearranged my entire life without asking. And when I tried to assert independence, tried to do things myself, she'd get upset, said I was pushing her away. But she wasn't helping, she was controlling. Tears burned in Brielle's eyes. I'm not Sabrina. I know that. Minho finally looked at her, but you met with her believing even for a second that she might be right. That hurt. I'm sorry, I should have told you she called. Should have talked to you first. Yes, you should have. They stood in heavy silence. So where does that leave us? Brielle asked quietly. Minho exhaled slowly. I don't want to shut you out, but I also can't have someone who doesn't trust me, who runs to my ex for information instead of just asking me. You're right, that was wrong. Brielle moved closer. But you also have to understand I'm new to this. To you. And when someone tells me I might be missing something important, it scares me. Not because I don't trust you, but because I care about you. And I don't want to mess this up. You think I don't feel the same way. You think I'm not terrified of screwing this up. Then let's not. Brielle reached for his hand. Let's actually talk about the hard stuff. About your accident, my fears, all of it. No more deflecting. No more shutting down, just honesty. Minho looked at their joined hands. I'm not good at this. At being vulnerable. Neither am I, maybe. We can figure it out together. Slowly Minho nodded. Okay, but ground rule, no more secret meetings with Sabrina. Deal, and ground rule for you. When I ask how you're feeling, you give me a real answer, not a deflection. That's going to be hard. Good things usually are. Minho pulled her into his arms. Brielle held on tight. I really care about you, he said quietly, more than I've cared about anyone in a long time. Which is why we need to do this right. They stood there, holding each other, until Brielle's stomach growled. Minho laughed. I should probably feed you. Please, I've been emotionally devastated. I need carbs. They cooked together, the tension slowly easing. They really talked about boundaries, communication, what they each needed from this relationship. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments and hard truths. Brielle and Minho survived the Sabrina confrontation, committed to real honesty, and things were finally looking up. But you know how this works. Just when you think everything's smooth sailing, life says, hold my champagne. Let's jump back in. I think I'm in love with him. Brielle said it out loud for the first time, standing in her kitchen at midnight, pulling a stress batch of brownies from the oven. Camilla, who'd been summoned for emotional support and chocolate, nearly dropped her wine glass. You think, girl, you've been in love with that man since October. You're just now admitting it. That's different than saying it out loud. Is it, though? Brielle slumped against the counter. What if he doesn't feel the same way? What if it's too soon? What if I say it and it scares him off? Has Minho given you any indication he's not equally gone for you? Brielle thought about the last 6 months, about the way Minho looked at her, the way he remembered every small thing she mentioned, how he'd surprised her with a professional-grade stand mixer for her birthday because he knew her old one was dying, how he'd learned to make her favorite lemon bars just to see her smile. No, she admitted, but saying it makes it real. Do you know how long it's been since I let myself feel this much for someone? Since my ex in college. And that ended with him cheating with my roommate. Minho is not that loser. Minho is a good man who clearly adores you. I know, which is why I'm terrified of screwing it up. Camilla sighed. You want my advice? Tell him life's too short to hold back love because you're scared, especially love like this. Brielle knew she was right, didn't make it less scary. Her phone buzzed. Minho, you're stress baking, aren't you? Brielle, how do you know? Minho, it's midnight and you just posted an Instagram story of brownies with the caption, feelings are hard. You're not subtle. Brielle, they're really good brownies though. Minho, save me some. I'll come by tomorrow. Minho, whatever's stressing you out, we can talk about it. You know that, right? Brielle stared at the message, at this man who'd somehow become her person in just 6 months. Brielle, I know, tomorrow. Minho, tomorrow. Sleep well, beautiful. You're smiling at your phone like a complete sap, Camilla observed. Shut up. You're in love. I hate you. You love me, and you love him, just admit it. Brielle threw a brownie at her. So he said, settling onto her couch, what's going on in that brilliant, chaotic mind of yours? Brielle handed him a brownie and sat next to him. Big feelings, scary feelings. Want to elaborate? This was it, the moment. She could deflect, make a joke, change the subject. Or she could be brave. I'm in love with you, Brielle said, the words rushing out before she could stop them. And I know it's only been 6 months, and that might be too soon, and you might not feel the same way, but I needed to say it because keeping it in was making me stress bake at midnight. And Minho kissed her. Soft, sweet, perfect. When he pulled back, he was grinning. Can I talk now? I'm in love with you too, have been for months. I was just waiting for the right moment to say it. Brielle felt something in her chest burst open with relief. Joy, love, all tangled together. Really? Really? You're the best thing that's happened to me, Brielle. You see all of me and you don't flinch. You don't pity. You just love. It's the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. I do love you so much. I love you too. They kissed again, longer this time, and Brielle felt like she was floating. This was it. This was the real thing. Brielle was at a catering gig when Minho called, which was unusual. He knew she worked weekends. Hey, what's up? I'm kind of in the middle of. Sabrina called me. Minho's voice was tight. She wants to meet. Says she needs closure. Brielle's good mood evaporated. You're not seriously considering it. I don't know, maybe it would help. Give her the closure she needs so she can move on. Or maybe it's a manipulation tactic to get back into your life. You don't know that. Minho, she already tried to sabotage us once. Why would you give her another chance? Because maybe I have things I need to say too. Maybe I need closure just as much as she does. Brielle felt frustration rising. Do what you need to do, but don't expect me to be thrilled about it. I'm not asking permission, Brielle. I'm telling you as a courtesy. A courtesy? Wow, thanks so much. Why are you being like this? Because your ex-fiancé has caused nothing but problems, and now you're running to meet her the second she snaps her fingers. It's not like that. What is it like? Silence. I have to get back to work, Brielle said. Do whatever you want. She hung up. I immediately felt guilty, but also angry and confused. This was their first real fight since the Sabrina coffee incident, and it felt awful. That night, Minho texted. Minho, I met with Sabrina. We talked, got actual closure, it's done. Brielle, good for you. Minho, are you really mad at me? Brielle, I don't know what I am. Minho, can we talk in person? Brielle wanted to say no, wanted to be petty and make him wait. But that wasn't who they were. Brielle, come over. 20 minutes later, Minho was at her door. I'm sorry, he said immediately. I should have discussed it with you instead of just telling you I was going. Yes, you should have. Brielle let him in, but I also overreacted. You're allowed to get closure. Sabrina makes me feel insecure, like she knows parts of you I never will. That's not true. Sabrina knew who I was before the accident. You know who I am now. That's deeper, more real. Is it though? Or am I just the rebound who happened to stick around? Minho looked stunned. Is that really what you think sometimes, when I'm in my head and scared? Brielle, Minho took her hands. You are not a rebound. You're the person I choose every single day. The person I'm in love with. The person I want to build a future with. Brielle's breath caught. Yeah, Minho smiled nervously. I know we haven't been together that long, but I know what I want. And it's you. I want that too, so much. But I also need you to include me in decisions that affect us, like meeting with your ex. You're right, I will, I promise. And I promise to work on my insecurity and trust you more. Deal. They kissed, and it felt like coming home. So what did Sabrina want? Brielle asked. To apologize. Actually, I apologize. She's in therapy, working through why she reacted the way she did. She wanted to take accountability and wish us well. That's actually healthy. I was surprised too, but I think she meant it, and it helped getting actual closure, knowing that chapter is really finished. Good, I'm glad. So we're okay. We're okay. They curled up on the couch, and Brielle felt the tension finally leave her body. They were okay. They were building something real. Everything was going to be fine. Brielle was meeting Minho's business partners for the first time at a company event. She wore her best dress, did her makeup carefully, and tried not to be nervous. You look stunning, Minho said, rolling up beside her at the venue entrance, and also terrified. What's wrong? What if they don't take me seriously? What if they see me as just the girlfriend? They're going to see you as the brilliant businesswoman you are, and if they don't, I'll correct them. The event was impressive. Tech Accessible was launching a new product line, and the turnout was huge. Investors, tech journalists, disability advocates, all there to celebrate. Brielle watched Minho work the room with ease. This was his element, confident, articulate, passionate. She felt a surge of pride. You must be Brielle. A woman in her 40s approached, smiling warmly. I'm Janet Park, Tech Accessible's CFO. Minho talks about you constantly. All good things, I hope, Brielle said. The best things. He mentioned you run a catering business. That's incredible. Starting a business from scratch takes serious guts. They talked shop for 20 minutes about business challenges, growth strategies, and work-life balance. Janet was sharp, funny, and treated Brielle like an equal, not an accessory. Other partners and employees approached throughout the night. All of them are kind, welcoming, genuinely interested in Brielle's work. See, Minho said later, pulling her close, I told you they'd love you. You were right, your team is amazing. Because I hire good humans, it's kind of my thing. The night was perfect, right up until Brielle overheard a conversation near the bar. Don't know how long it'll last, a man was saying. I mean, she's gorgeous, I'll give him that. But let's be real, she's with him for the money. Come on, that's harsh, another voice replied. Is it, beautiful woman, successful disabled billionaire? It's a tale as old as time. She's cashing in on sympathy points. Brielle felt like she'd been slapped. She turned to see who was talking to two men in expensive suits, investors by the look of them, completely unaware she could hear. That's not fair, the second man said. Maybe she actually cares about him. Maybe, or maybe she's smart enough to know a good opportunity when she sees one. Either way, good for Minho. He deserves some companionship, even if he has to pay for it indirectly. Brielle's vision went red. She marched over before she could think better of it, she said brightly. Both men turned, startled. I'm Brielle, the gold digger you were just discussing. Want to say that to my face? You weren't talking about how I'm clearly with Minho for his money, about how he's essentially paying for companionship, because I definitely heard that. Look, I didn't mean. Here's what you don't know, Brielle cut him off, her voice sharp. I make my own money. I built my own business. I don't need Minho's wealth. What I need is the man I love who happens to be brilliant and kind and funny, the wheelchair. The money. Those are just details. What matters is who he is. But you couldn't see that because people like you reduce everything to transactions. The second man looked mortified. We're sorry. That was completely inappropriate. Yes, it was. Brielle turned to the first man, who still looked defensive. And you should know Minho can hear you. He's right over there, with his state-of-the-art hearing aids that pick up conversations from across the room. So congratulations. You just insulted your host and his girlfriend in one go. Real classy. She walked away, shaking with anger and adrenaline. Minho met her halfway. I heard, he said quietly. I'm so sorry, I should have just walked away. Are you kidding? That was amazing. Minho was grinning. You absolutely destroyed him. You're not upset. At you, never at him, absolutely, but watching you defend us. That was the sexiest thing I've ever witnessed. Brielle laughed despite herself. I probably made a scene. Good, he deserved it, and everyone here now knows not to mess with you. True. They left shortly after, both done with networking for the night. Back at Minho's place, curled up on his couch, Brielle felt the anger finally drain away. Does that happen a lot, she asked, people assuming things about us? Sometimes. People make assumptions about disability and relationships, that I'm either a charity case or a meal ticket, that anyone who dates me must have ulterior motives. That's disgusting. It is, but it's also why what we have is special. You see past all that noise, you just see me. Because that's all there is to see, just you, the man I love. Minho kissed her forehead. I have a question. Okay. How do you feel about marriage? Brielle's heart stopped. What? Not right now, Minho clarified quickly, but eventually. Is that something you want? I never thought I did, but with you, yeah. Good, because I want that too, with you. Are you proposing? Not yet, but I'm thinking about it. Wanted to make sure we were on the same page. Brielle's heart was racing. We're on the same page. They kissed, and Brielle felt the future opening up before them. Okay, I need to tell you something, but you can't freak out. Camia's words made Brielle look up from the cake she was decorating. When has that sentence ever ended well? Sabrina got engaged. Brielle froze. What? To some finance guy. Huge ring, very public proposal. It's all over social media. Brielle pulled out her phone. Sure enough, Sabrina's Instagram showed her with a massive diamond, kissing some handsome stranger, caption reading, "When you know, you know. Can't wait to marry my best friend." Wow, she moves fast. How do you feel? Brielle considered. She found someone who works for her. And she's clearly moved on, which means she's officially not my problem. That's very mature of you. I'm shockingly evolved sometimes. Have you told Minho? Not yet, but I will. That night over dinner, Brielle mentioned it casually. So Sabrina got engaged. Minho looked up from his bibimbap. Yeah, I saw. Good for her. You're really okay with it? Completely. That part of my life is over. I'm exactly where I want to be. He reached across the table for her hand. With you, good answer. They smiled at each other, and Brielle felt nothing but contentment. 2 weeks later, Minho asked Brielle to meet him at the venue where his almost wedding had happened. Why are we here? Brielle asked as they entered the familiar chapel. Because I need to replace a bad memory with a good one, Minho said. He rolled to the center of the aisle, where he'd sat alone almost a year ago, abandoned and heartbroken. Then he turned to Brielle. A year ago, I sat in this exact spot and thought my life was over, that I'd never find real love, that the accident had taken too much from me. Brielle's eyes started to burn. Then you walked into my life, Minho continued. This stubborn, brilliant, beautiful woman who saw me when everyone else saw pity, who challenged me, who loved me for exactly who I am. He pulled out a small box. Brielle gasped. Minho said, opening the box to reveal a stunning sapphire ring. Will you marry me? Will you replace this memory with a better one? Will you be my partner, my love, my home? Tears streamed down Brielle's face. Yes. God, yes. Minho slipped the ring on her finger and she dropped to her knees to kiss him. The chapel that had witnessed his heartbreak now witnessed his joy. And it was perfect. Brielle stood in the bridal suite, looking at herself in the mirror. Her dress was simple, elegant, perfect. Her natural hair was styled in beautiful locks with tiny white flowers woven through. She looked happy. She looked ready. Are you good? Camia asked, adjusting her maid of honor dress. I'm perfect. No cold feet, no running. Not a chance. That man out there is my forever. Music started. Brielle walked down the aisle of the same chapel, but everything was different. The flowers were sunflowers and wildflowers. The guests were their family, friends, colleagues who'd supported them. And at the altar, Minho waited. He wore a sharp black suit, his wheelchair decorated with subtle silver accents, his face when he saw her pure love. Brielle reached him, took his hand. She whispered. The ceremony was beautiful. They wrote their own vows. Minho, Brielle said, her voice steady, you taught me that love isn't about perfection. It's about seeing someone fully, all their strength, all their vulnerability, and choosing them anyway, every single day. You are my choice, today and always. Minho's voice was thick with emotion. Brielle, you gave me something I thought I'd lost: hope. Hope that I could be loved for exactly who I am. Hope that my story wasn't over, just different. You are my partner, my equal, my home. And I promise to choose you every day for the rest of our lives. There wasn't a dry eye in the chapel. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said, smiling. You may kiss. They did. The chapel erupted in applause. Mr. and Mrs. Kang rolled down the aisle together, hands linked, faces bright with joy. The reception was perfect chaos, good food catered by Brielle's company, great music, dancing, and laughter. Minho gave a speech that made everyone cry. Brielle's mother gave a speech that made everyone laugh. Hannah threatened anyone who hurt her brother, which everyone expected. During their first dance, Brielle leaned down to whisper in Minho's ear, "I love you. I love you too. Thank you for being brave enough to try again. Thank you for being brave enough to love me." They swayed together, surrounded by everyone they loved, in the same venue where everything had gone wrong a year ago. But now everything was right. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment.